Hello friends, welcome to your own YouTube channel Achievers Data Engineering with one another interesting video on Power BI tips and tricks. In this video, we are going to talk about how can we create a Power BI card with a percentage change value and an arrow within it, right? So as you can see here, we have got two KPI cards which we have built in Power BI, and it has got a percentage change value along with an arrow reflecting whether the value is changing upwards or downwards, right? So you can see here we have got years filters and the months filter, and based on that we will be able to recognize and we will be able to see the latest value whichever is selected in the filter, and we would know that what is the percentage change from last month, and if it is positive then it will show an up arrow, and if it is negative then it will show the down arrow. So how can we achieve this in Power BI? Let's see that in practical. So let's get started. All right, guys. So just to have a reference what we are going to look into this video right now, I have already prepared an example for you. So for example, you can see here we have got two KPI cards where we have got arrow and this percentage change values, and it shows this percentage change from last month, right? And if I go ahead and change the filters, for example, if I select 22, all right, because we don't have data for December 22 as of now, and let me select one. And now you can see here it is comparing data from previous month, right? So if I go back to 2021 and select December, it says this is the total amount of downloads and waves. And if I go to the next year, which is 2022 and Jan, because there are only 4 days as of now, right? And there isn't enough downloads or views generated. So that's why it is showing there it is approximately 40% down from previous month. And this is for downloads and this is for views, right? So how to do that? Let's take a look now. So let's jump on a fresh Power BI report, and let me just go ahead and connect to the data. All right. So the data that I have got, all right, let me select assets performance and load. Okay. Now first let's take a look on data. The more we understand data, the better visualization we can prepare. So the data that we have is nothing but kind of a data of digital assets, right? So this is date, this is digital assets ID, and this is assets type. So for example, we have some assets which is videos, GIFs, images, or like maybe documents. This is type ID, extension, waves, and downloads. So now what we want to do is based on this date column, we want to see total waves and downloads, and we want to see a comparison how much percentage change it has from previous months, right? So right now here we are seeing from previous month, but if you want we can like prepare it for either year, for week, or days. We just need to tweak some DAX and we will be able to achieve it, right? Now it will take a couple of steps to achieve what we have just looked, right? So let's go step by step. So first of all, whenever whenever we do something which is kind of a time sensitive, I always prefer to have a date column, right? So let me just go ahead and start creating a date column. Sorry, not the column, it's table. So I'll go to the modeling, click on new table. All right, I'll name it as date table. And let's start with add columns. I'll select calendar auto. All right, make it as 12 just for the fiscal period. And here, all right, and select date, close the bracket. Now I'll take month, right, again, date, and let's take day now. We don't need maybe month name. Oops, forgot the parentheses. All right, finally close the bracket. Okay, cool. So now it should reflect with a date column, with a date table. Now you can see here we have got all the dates. Now because we have used Calendar Auto, it will automatically recognize the maximum and minimum date range from the actual data set that we have got, and it will create that date fields accordingly. All right. So one more important step, what we can do, we can define this table as a date table. So we'll mark it as a date table and it will ask for the column. So we'll give that, okay, this date column is the primary date column. All right, that's all. Now we would go ahead and start preparing some measures. Now, again, as a best practice, I prefer to have all my measures created in a single table, right? So for that, I create a temporary table first. So I'll name it as measures table. All right, load. Let me just enter some random data. Okay. Now, when it comes to creating measures, I'll select this table and start creating measures. So let's start with creating total downloads first. So I'll name it as total downloads and use calculate sum and let's select downloads. All right. Oops, I made the spelling mistake. So downloads. All right. Now I'll go ahead and delete this test column and now this will become a measures table because you can see here its sign has been changed from an ordinary table to a measures table, right? So now let me create another measure which would be total waves. All right, so same function again. So calculate sum and waves. All right, bracket close. Now, now let's calculate the total downloads and total waves of last month so that actually we can do some comparison, right? So again, I'll click on the measure table and click on new measures. I'll name it as downloads, downloads last month. All right. Again, I'll use calculate and use the measure which I have already created, total downloads. Now to calculate the total downloads of previous month, we will use DAX, which is parallel period. All right. So use parallel periods. And now when it comes to dates, because we have already created a date table, we will make sure that we are using this date field instead of the inbuilt date column that we have got from our table, right? So we'll select date table date. Now, number of intervals would be -1 as we are going to fetch data for previous month, right? So that's all, bracket close. And I'll copy this so that we can now, okay, now let me just go ahead and click on new measure again and I'll paste the same thing and make it as waves last month and change this downloads to waves. All right. Now we have got total downloads this month and last month and similarly total waves this month and last month. Now we need to let's take a look. So the data so far that we have got, let's do some comparison whether we are going in the right direction or not. So let me just close this and select a table. All right. I'll go ahead and select, let's take only month as of now, and I'll select total downloads last month. Similarly, total waves and total waves last month. Okay, so now as of now, data might not be looking good because we haven't established. Okay, we did, but it's wrong. Let me make it a single. All right. So we need to have a relationship created between the actual date, the date table that we have created, and between the original table that we have got. All right. So, all right. So now we have got this data created. So over here you can see if I let's create two more slicers so that we can have actually correct look of data. I'll select year and make it as drop down. Let's make it list. All right. Similarly, I'll create one more slicer and select month, make it as list. Cool. Now I'll select 21 first and then I'll select 12. All right. So you can see here in December 21, total downloads that we had is 29,800. And if we go to 2022 and Jan, total downloads last month would reflect the same thing, right? And similarly, it goes for the waves, right? So this is how we can check the data that we have got is correct. It just the data is not available for all the months, and that's why it is not reflecting. Okay, fair enough. So now what we can do, we will start calculating the difference. All right. So let's create few more measures. I'll name it as download download variance. All right. So it would be like total downloads minus download last month. All right. And similarly, I'll create waves variance. All right. So this will be total waves minus total waves last month. Okay. Now, because the KPI example that we saw, we are actually showing percentage value instead of the actual value. So we need to, calculate the percentage as well. Now to calculate the percentage, we need to calculate the percentage variance. So I'll click on new measure again and make it as download variance percentage. Now for this we'll use divide function and we'll divide as download variance and it will divide by downloads last month. Okay, and similarly we'll create another measure that would be waves variance percentage. All right, so let's again use divide and that would be waves variance comma waves last month. Okay, cool. So now let me just drop this table and instead directly bring these cards. All right, let me create one more. Now for the first one, I'll keep it for total downloads and this one as total waves. We need to do a couple of formatting. So I'll go ahead and turn off the category labels. For this one, go ahead and turn on the title and make it as downloads. All right, keep it in the center. And for this one, we'll make it as waves. Keep it in the center. All right, let's make it a little bit stand out. So turn on the labels and shadows. Similarly for this one, and let me do it for this filters as well. Oops. General effects, and same for this one. All right. So now, yeah, we do see blank because we haven't done the error handling. So maybe we can use is blank function, and whenever we don't have any data, it will reflect zero instead of uh, like showing the blank. All right. So now you can see here we have got the actual values. Now what we can do is we can create one more card and show the download variance. All right. So turn on the label and one more important step. Let me first make it as a percentage value. All right. And let's reduce the size. I'll make it 11. Now I'll go ahead and put it right in the bottom. click on this card and go to the format and send it back. Okay. Now, similarly, I'll do the same thing for this. I'll create one more card and select total waves and not the total waves, waves variance. Turn off the category label, make it as percentage. All right. Change its size, make it 11. All right. Reduce it and again put it in the bottom. Click on this card, go to format and send it back. All right. So now we have got the percentage value. We can create one more measure. Now I'll call it as text only and I'll write from last month. Okay, that's all. Okay, now I'll go ahead and select this text and take it in the card. Turn off the category labels. I'll reduce the size to 11. All right, I'll make a copy of it. Oops. So one copy will go here and another copy will go here. Cool. So now we have so far achieved two cards where we are having actually the numbers, the amount or the waves or downloads we want to see. We have got the percentage difference. Now the last thing which is remaining as per the actual example that we saw is actually these arrows, right? So directly, actually, there is no way to create, have created these arrows in Power BI. So what we can do instead, I'll go to Word, all right, and open a blank document, go to Insert, select Symbols, More Symbols. I'll go ahead and copy these arrows. So maybe I'll insert the up and down arrow, close. Now what I will do, I'll create two more measures. First one, I'll name it as arrow for download. All right. So now here I'll say if. So what on which basis we want to show these arrows? So I want to show these arrow based on the percentage change, right? So I'll say if download variance percentage, let me just download variance percentage is less than 0, then I want to see this down arrow. All right. And if download, let me copy this, variance is greater than 0, then I want to see this up arrow. All right. Stat comma. Now close the bracket. Now we are not in the situation, it will show arrow either in the case it is less than 0 or it is greater than 0. When when there is a situation when this variance is coming to 0, right? So there would be no difference. In that situation, the download in this month would be equal to the downloads of last month, and in that situation, we don't want to, reflect any up or down arrow. So I'll just hit enter, copy this, and create one more measure, and I'll make it arrow for waves. Now instead of downloads, I'll select, oops, waves variance percentage. Similarly for this one, waves variance percentage. Fair enough. All right, so now I'll take one more card, take this arrow for download. All right, and Let me copy this and I'll take arrow for waves. Okay, all right, too many spelling mistakes. Okay, great. So now I go ahead and turn off the category labels. Okay, and also I'll reduce the size. Maybe 30 would be enough. Same for both. All right. So now this one is for waves. I'll reduce the size and put it here. This one is for downloads. Reduce the size and put it here. Great. So now, based on the data that we have got, it's we have got the numbers, right? So now, if we want to actually change the color of this card, one thing that we will have to keep in mind is if I just go ahead and change the color of this card as of now, and for example this, right? So these items will actually stand out in the white color. To have this correct, maybe we need to select them. Go to the formatting pane. In general effects, we need to turn the transparency as 100%. Same for this. I'll go ahead and select the effects and select the color. And for these elements, I'll go in the format, general effects, transparency as 100%. All right. So let me just adjust them a bit. Great. All right. So now we have got these arrows and let me just change the values and you will see the difference. So now, based on the data that we saw in the beginning, in 2022, the numbers are reduced in comparison to 2021 December, right? So if I like select 2022 and select first, then you can see the arrows are now reflecting to down, right? Because the percentage value is in the negatives, right? And similarly, in 2021 November, the values like for waves it's up and for downloads it is down, right? So it is incorporating and it is like interacting as per the percentage variance change, right? So yeah, it was a very long video, but I hope it will give you a good idea how you can create these kind of cards in Power BI, and these are actually very useful when it comes to putting together a dashboard. But you have got good idea and understanding how you can create a visualization like this in Power BI. So at this point of time, if you have any questions, please do let me know in the comments. I would love to answer that. And if you like the content, please go ahead and hit the like button and do subscribe to my channel to stay up to date on any latest video which I upload. Thank you for watching. Keep learning. Have a great day.